This is Cooking with Chef Paul Higgins, and today we're going to spend some time looking at basic vegetable cooking in crock pots. We're working with some of the common items that you'll find in the food pantries, like at the Salvation Army or at Interchurch. And the crock pot recipes are also a good way for us to follow our nutritional guidelines to eating our 5 to 9 servings each day. Also joining me today is Rachel Reinhardt, and she's going to get an opportunity to taste some of what we're preparing. What's happening today too is with the crock pots, you need to know where the heating elements are. Most of them today have them in the bottom and the sides. Some of the older crock pots though, they may just be in the bottom. So you need to know how your crock pot works. You need to know the size of your crock pot and does it fit the recipe.
Okay, so what is our first recipe?
Well, today we're going to start out using fresh vegetables, and we're going to do a sequence. First we'll have a plain vegetable soup, and then we'll move into a minestrone soup, and then from there, using the same types of vegetables, just preparing them a little bit differently, we'll make a beef stew and add protein to the dish.
Okay.
Ready to begin?
I'm ready.
All right, let's hit it. Our basic recipe, the ingredients are going to be carrots, celery, and onions. And if you think about it, you'll find carrots, celery, and onions in most every recipe, or a variation of them. Some recipes may not have the celery, but they'll all have at least the onion.
Okay.
Those three ingredients are what they refer to as aromatics. So from there, you can build any kind of recipe that you like. We're going to use other root vegetables because we're moving into the winter season. So we're also going to use potatoes. We're going to use some green beans because they're plentiful also at this time of the year. We have cabbage, which of course is available to us. We also have a parsnip, and we're going to use a turnip. You can take all these ingredients, throw them in a stock pot, throw your liquid in, turn it on, head out the door. You'll have soup when you get home. But if you have a little bit of time, it might be better off, and certainly would enhance the flavor, if first you just saute them in a pot on the stove.
Okay.
So we add the oil into our pot.
Right.
Bring it up till you can hear a little bit of the boil, the sizzle, right? Add all of the vegetables. In they go.
Okay.
Okay. Also then we have our cabbage, right? We have some green beans, which of course we know are readily available to us. And we also have our potatoes. Now I cut the potatoes a little earlier and they're soaking in water so they wouldn't discolor.
Oh, okay.
So I will drain those out and into the pot they'll go.
Okay.
Okay. We also have tomatoes in juice.
In juice.
In juice, right? And the recipe calls for 48 ounces of liquid, and we have a 48-ounce can. So here's how the recipe will go together. Vegetables in the pot. They get sauteed. They get working up. They'll come from the pot into the crock pot.
Okay.
Okay? Then we can add the green beans. We can add the potatoes. We can add the tomato. We can then add our liquid. And then we also have garlic, salt and pepper, and we have some seasonings.
Okay.
And the herbs that we're going to use, try to use fresh herbs when they're available, but now this time of the year we're using dried herbs. And I like to use basil and oregano and thyme and those kind of that enhance the vegetable taste.
Okay.
And that's how our vegetable soup gets underway. All right, Rachel, let's move off of the vegetable soup now. We'll move into minestrone.
What is minestrone?
Well, it's a vegetable soup as well, but it's the Italian version. So we're going to take the basic vegetables that we used before, carrots, celery, and onions, and we're going to take the garlic, and we're going to use into our pan. We'll put a little oil, and we'll saute all these items together to release all the flavors, and then we'll build that into our crock pot.
Okay.
And additionally, then we're going to add some tomato. I got some of the tomatoes that we have already chopped. And you can use dried beans or you can use canned beans, the red kidney beans.
Okay.
Now, I prefer to use the red kidney beans, but they require a little more work. The easy way, of course, is just to open a can of the red kidney beans, wash them off, drain them, and into the pot they go. But the flavor from the dried beans is much more intense. And the thing to know about the dried beans, and it's very important, is that you soak them overnight, or a minimum of 8 hours. Now, the next thing that's extremely important then is before you do anything else with them, that you boil them for 10 minutes.
Okay.
The red beans have a toxin in them that can give you a new kind of stomach aggravation. So we'll get these into the pot right now. We got our carrots, celery, and onions, and we're going to get those and all that flavor to come together here as it sautés down. Going to add my garlic and get those cooking. Now while that's cooking for a few minutes, what we'll do is get our crock pot ready.
Okay.
All right? So I always like to get the crock pot turned on in advance.
Okay.
Get it heated up. And with that also, I like to use the liner bags.
Liner bags? I've never heard of liner bags.
Well,
before.
you haven't had to clean a crock pot. So it's real simple. They're one size fits all.
Okay.
It goes into the pot. You just set it around easily as it is. Fold it over the edge, and it's ready to go. And while leave the lid on while that pot's getting ready and getting heated up.
Okay.
We'll check on our vegetables here and see how we're doing. All's looking good. So we'll get those into our crock pot.
Okay.
And while the crock pot's cooking, and that's going to take about, on a high temperature, about 3 hours minimum. And then we have the spinach as well. The spinach that we have was store-bought in a bag already cleaned, which is really nice. But in season, I certainly like to get the fresh spinach. We're going to pre-cook our pasta, and then we'll serve it up separately.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll get all this moved. We'll get set up, and let's taste some minestrone soup.
Okay.
Okay, you ready for some minestrone soup?
I am ready.
Good deal. I think we're all set here. Let me grab your plate.
Okay.
And what I want to do first, of course, is we cook some pasta. So I'm going to put the pasta right in the bowl on the bottom. Okay?
Okay.
Like I said, if we added it to the soup itself, we'd end up with
mush.
very soggy, mushy. So let's see what happened. Oh, I'm going to peek. Doesn't that smell wonderful?
Oh my goodness, it looks so good.
Hope you're hungry.
I am very hungry.
Very simple, easy to make, and a fun way to explore your recipes during the week and expand on using the same ingredients.
Yeah. The tomatoes and the pasta. The pasta just brings it all together. It's really, really good.
Well, good.
I like it.
Glad you enjoy. Okay, Rachel, we've had some soup. Now we're going to move on to some stew.
Ooh, what type of stew?
Well, we're going to do a beef stew.
All right.
And the basics for it are the same as we did before with the carrot, celery, and onions.
So we can use those same vegetables, but it's like 3 different meals.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And the real difference is only going to be is that we're going to cut these vegetables a little bigger. We have some diced potatoes, right? So that they're good size to eat. We've got our tomatoes again. Right, so you can see that we're using a lot of the same ingredients.
Yeah.
Right. We have our beef, right, and it's all been trimmed, and we'll season it with a little salt and pepper, and we're going to put it in the skillet first.
Okay.
Right, and we're gonna brown it up real nice, release some of the flavors and the juices from it, and then it's ready for the crock pot.
Okay.
Then to top it all off, just to keep life simple. This is all about simple cooking. We're going to use our flavor profile is going to be a package of onion soup.
Okay.
So we're going to use that onion soup mix as part of the profile for the flavor. Now, if you'll notice, I haven't mentioned anything about adding any liquid.
Uh-oh.
We didn't talk about any stocks or building any kind of liquid for this because we're not going to.
Okay.
We're going to use the juice from the tomatoes, the moisture that comes from the vegetables. Our flavoring is going to come from here. We're going to actually use a little Worcestershire sauce.
Okay.
All right, just a spoonful to get us into it. Add our seasonings, and off we go.
Okay.
Now, we get it all going in the crock pot, get it underway, bring it together, and then we need to thicken it. Another shortcut. We're going to use cornstarch.
Cornstarch.
A little cornstarch, mix it with some water. I only need a teaspoon. Make like a little paste out of it. Put it into the liquid, give it a stir. We're going to have a nice, rich, thick stew. All right, are you ready for some beef stew?
I am ready.
Excellent. Let's get your plate here.
Okay.
Let's see how we did. Well, for a start, it smells wonderful, doesn't it? Got all those ingredients in there,
Ooh.
nice and hearty. Wonderful winter dish.
Yes.
So what do you think?
Wow, it is so good. My mouth is full.
How exciting it is, though, when you come home after a day at school or after coming off the job and you come home and your whole house has got this wonderful aroma going on. And you know, all you need to do is hang your coat up, wash your hands, get out the plates, and it's time for dinner. Yeah. We'd like to take a moment here to say special thanks to Harold's Appliance, downtown Mount Vernon, for allowing us to use their kitchen today. Also, a big thanks to Lanning's Food in Mount Vernon for donating the food used in our recipes. We also appreciate the support of OSU Extension Office in Knox County, the Rural Life Center at Kenyon College, and Extension intern Kayla Arnold. It's a great privilege to be part of Knox County's Food for the Hungry Drive, and I encourage you to support the effort again this year with your donations of food and funds. This is Chef Paul Higgins reminding you to crock on, crock on.